So I'm Lesley Warren. I am CEO and Creative Director at W Design Co. W Design Co. is a full-service marketing and design agency dedicated to building brands and growing businesses. So we support a range of clients across various industries. We would support clients with things like sales and marketing collateral, brochures, logo development. We're getting really heavy into the digital space these days. So we're doing a lot of web development. We're doing video, motion graphics, all kinds of cool stuff, really. Currently, we're about 8 full-time on our core staff, all of whom are trained with post-secondary education in the fields of marketing or graphic design. But we also pull in, we have a really strong partner network. So anything that we can't offer in-house, we have strategic partners in place to support, like heavy back-end coding, video production that requires a film crew. I mean, we can do it all, but we'll outsource various pieces as the demands of the project require. I mean, we have a range of clients, from startups that are looking, kind of net new brand development from strategy straight through to their logo development and implementation. We have clients that are kind of mid-size corporate accounts, primarily B2B. But we also have some really large corporate accounts, even US-based corporate accounts that are quite large in scale, that we would support on kind of more of a day-to-day basis with sort of all of their sales and marketing support. We'd be kind of like an extension to their team. We'd be their agency of record. We've been around a while. It's hard to believe that we're on our 17th year. So 17 years ago, I started Lesley Warren Design Group. So it would have started as Lesley Warren Design Group 17 years ago. Initially, it was just to have some flexibility in my schedule. I was looking to raise a family, was kind of tired of the big city crazy. And I just wanted to create kind of an environment that was more sustainable for my growing family. Right. So I've always been creative. I remember sitting in a guidance office in high school and kind of asking, what am I going to do? The only thing I'm good at is art. I was an honor student in art. I took art all the way through high school. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? It was a guidance counselor that introduced me to graphic design. And, it was a practical application for an artistic skill set. And I think, having been raised by a single mother, I was raised to be practical. So the idea of just being a fine artist, that didn't seem practical to me. So the combination of applying my artistic ability in a practical application like graphic design, that seemed like a good idea to me. So when I started college, it was a natural fit. I loved it. I'm like, this is my thing. It just, everything fell into place. But even as far back as I can remember, my mom would always tell you that she always saw me with a crayon or some sort of craft in my hand. I was always artistic. At the age of 12, I was selling crafts. My mom would host these kind of home parties for me and bring her friends and family and like some neighbors over. And I would have different crafts of the season, different wreaths and centerpieces and ornaments that were available for custom order. And so that was my first exposure to entrepreneurship. I think I've just always been somewhat entrepreneurial inclined. Influence of a strong, independent woman My mom, she always raised me to believe that I can do anything I put my mind to with hard work and determination. And I admired her. And, it was important for me to stand on my own 2 feet and to create my own destiny and be financially stable, and to not rely on anybody else to do that for me. So I graduated Durham College in Oshawa. So I graduated in, boy, I'm dating myself. I graduated in 97 from graphic design. And from there, I got into an agency right away in Toronto. I was really passionate about package design. So I started at an agency, one of the more reputable agencies downtown, focused on package design and brand development. So I did that for about 6 years. And then it was I was at a crossroads, where I could stay in package design, but it's a very niche, very small market, or I could diversify. So I chose the latter, and I got into a corporate job. So I was working at a tech firm here locally. That's kind of what brought me to this area. And I was working on the marketing team as their lead creative. I stayed there a little bit, but agency is kind of what I'm built for. I like the challenge. I like the speed. I like the diversity. I held a few design roles in various firms, I guess, from junior through to senior roles before I ventured out on my own in 2007. My experience in agency, it was very competitive, very, I don't want to say cutthroat, but a little bit. It was high stress, high pressure. Um, and I didn't want that. I felt that if I was ever in a leadership position, I would I would do things a little differently. And I think that's why our team, we're so collaborative. I don't have walls and offices. It's open concept because I want people sharing ideas. I don't want them working in a silo and hiding their work because they're afraid to share their ideas because someone might steal their ideas. I want you to share, and it's not a competition. We all work together, and I think that's how we create magic. I think that's how we create superior results, is through that collaboration. So I try to create an environment that's, we work hard, play hard, but I'm mindful of the fact that if creatives are under extreme pressure, they're probably not able to think clearly enough to do their best work. So I do try to keep things light, keep things collaborative, create a culture where we're a team, we work together. There are demands that sometimes cause us to work a little later, but I'm staying with you. I'm not leaving them and expecting that they're going to stay late and get it done on their own. Like, we're a team. We're usually, kind of there to support each other to see it through. But I think in general, like a lot of I'm going to call them traditional marketing firms, we offer a lot of the same services. I mean, quite honestly. So how are we different? I think that we have a very strategy led process. I really believe that great strategy equals great design. I believe in purposeful design. It's not good enough just to create a pretty picture. Why are we doing this piece in the first place? Who's it for? How is it going to be used? I think it's important to understand and have answers to all of those questions before you start a project. We lead with strategy. I challenge my creative team. Why did you choose that color? Why did you choose that image? Why? I need them to rationalize and be able to stand behind their design and tie it back to the strategy. So when we're given objectives from a client and we're given a project brief and we're given their brand strategy, I need them to be able to ground that design with kind of concrete rationale for their choices. So I think it makes design a little less subjective that way, because ultimately art is subjective, design is subjective. It's not black and white. There's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of perspective. But when you have a strategy and you can ground that design with fact, it becomes less objective, in my opinion. So again, I'm going to come back to that collaboration piece, because while we're extremely collaborative internally, I would say we're also very collaborative with our clients. So we work kind of like an extension to their team. And I think as a boutique firm, what maybe makes us a little bit different is our flexibility and our willingness to kind of adapt to what the client needs. Do they need us to be fully involved and hold their hand through the process? We can do that. But maybe they don't. Maybe they have a marketing role on their payroll, and we can collaborate with their marketing team. And maybe we're playing more of a support role. So I think we're flexible in our approach. So you're asking what that process looks like. So the intake would come through me. A lot of the outreach comes through me. I'm managing a lot of client relations, but then we do have a director of marketing. So if we're talking a strategy project, our director of marketing will lead strategy sessions and strategy planning and kind of kick off the project that way. If it's going straight through to creative execution, you're probably just talking to myself or my art director, Paul, who will manage the creative team on, again, understanding project objectives and then seeing it through to execution. But I'm very involved in the day-to-day. And I like it that way. I mean, I have a great team, and we have people in roles for a reason, but I'm very involved, and especially on client side, that I would say is my primary role is that client relations piece. So one of the first things I did when I went into business was I joined the chamber, because I thought it would be a good way to build my network and connect with other professionals, peers. I was looking at that support and mentorship and just looking to build my network. I had to start somewhere. And through the chamber, there were great opportunities to get involved. I joined a CEO peer group, which has been amazing for, again, that support, that mentorship. It's been great. I got involved in the Women's Leadership Committee, which, again, I'm very passionate about women in business, female professionals. I love to inspire or support in any way I can. So being a part of the Women's Leadership Committee has been amazing. It's been amazing to be surrounded by, a room full of strong, independent, and tremendously inspiring women. So it's been great personally. I've made a lot of friends through these peer groups, but I've also, again, that inspiration and that mentorship and that support has really helped me on my journey. I'm also part of IWF, which is International Women's Forum. I'm part of Growth Academy, which is another women's professional group. So I'm quite involved in the community with a focus on women's leadership. Being an entrepreneur has definitely allowed me to have flexibility in my schedule, which again, that's what I set out to achieve in the first place. And I have two children. I have two boys. They have hectic schedules. They're hockey players. They're skiers, snowboard. I mean, life is busy. So having that flexibility to be there for them when they need me has been amazing. But it's also been really rewarding to to kind of sit back and, I built this, I created this. And there's just something very rewarding about that. Such a sense of pride and satisfaction, I guess. It's fulfilling, um, to know that I've created something, and that I'm contributing to other people's lives. I have a team who are employed, and you know what I mean? Like, that impact feels good. So challenges, I mean, right now, to talk about challenges without touching on COVID, it's probably, I know I'm not alone in that. Uh, Navigating a small business through those COVID years, it was something else. It as a small business, specifically in the marketing space, marketing budgets are typically the first budgets to get cut. We're a B2B service-based company. So I had to shift my focus immediately to operational efficiencies. How can we cut cost so that we can weather this storm and ensure the viability of the business long term? That was my immediate focus, and was my focus for probably a solid year until we came out of this and things were starting to look a little brighter. But it was tough. It was tough, some of the decisions I had to make, and I didn't win the popular vote. But that's what needed to be done, and it's my job to ensure the integrity of the business. We made it through, and we're thriving, and things are great. But I guess following right on the heels of COVID, my partner was really suddenly and unexpectedly diagnosed with advanced stage cancer. He was only 46, so it came as quite a shock to us both. And I had to shift my focus immediately to prioritizing his needs. So between, countless appointments, chemo, radiation, multiple surgeries, and countless doctor's appointments, I also had 2 kids at home that still needed me. So trying to maintain some sort of normalcy for them and navigate their schedules. And then there's the business. I can't just take a sabbatical. I can't just, call in sick. The business must go on. So I had to figure out and prioritize on a daily basis just to, try to maintain business as usual. I would often be seen at the hospital with my laptop. I would be taking meetings and wherever I could find a quiet space, managing clients and team remotely. But I'm very fortunate that I have such an incredible team. They really stepped up during those difficult months, and were there for me, and really took care of business as usual. They took care of the day-to-day operations. Like, my leadership team was amazing. They were really great. I couldn't have done it without them. My kids are an inspiration. I want to make them proud, and I want to set a good example for them. I think too, I have 2 boys. So, I want them to grow up with a strong, independent female role model. Um, yeah, so I'd say that's for sure my boys. But my team are such a source of inspiration to me. They are such an incredibly talented group of creatives, and their commitment to their craft and their passion and enthusiasm, it's contagious. I learn from them every single day, and I love it, and I love seeing them succeed. So seeing them kind of happy and proud of the work that they're producing, and feeling that I have in some way maybe contributed to that, or helped them to get their work to that point that they're really excited about it. I find that really rewarding. And ultimately, for me, it comes down to fit. We're a small agency. We're a small team. We're a very collaborative team. We're very much a team that's a family. So it has to feel right. We are a professional industry, so there are prerequisites. You must have graduated from an accredited post-secondary education with a graphic design diploma or bachelor of graphic design. That's a non-negotiable. And then I'm looking at what's your experience look like, and then I'm looking at your portfolio. And portfolios are subjective, very subjective. Again, art is subjective. Once we get to a meeting stage, then we're getting down to fit. I'm looking for that right culture fit. I'm looking for that person that, our values are kind of aligned, that, they're open to feedback, and they're, I don't want to say coachable, but, I think it is important that they can take feedback and learn and grow from it, even a willingness to continue learning and growing. So it's the intangibles, I guess. They can look great on paper, but I want to have that conversation, and it just needs to feel right. And, Paul is a great example. 17 years ago, again, he had all the right things on paper, but it was really once I met him that sealed the deal. He was absolutely instantly, I'm like, I could work with this guy. Like, there was just kind of a nice flow and balance and comfort. And of course he had talent, but really it was that it just felt right. And 17 years later, or almost 17, we're in our 17th year working together. It's best decision I ever made, best hire I've ever made. Our team is amazing, but 17 years. Yeah. So highlights, considering we started in the basement of my house, it was a pretty big highlight and accomplishment to move into the Bright Up block. So we were one of the first 3 tenants into the Bright Up. We had a custom built studio on the 2nd floor, and it really legitimized the business. It was a really big step, a really scary step, but a really big step. From there, in 2016, I purchased commercial real estate, which is where our office is now in Waterloo. My grandfather, he was an entrepreneur, and he always encouraged me to own my own space. He would say, as a small business, that's your 2nd largest cost center. So if you can get into space, it's just better for managing operation overhead, and you're building equity, and all that business speak he would tell me. But that was a big accomplishment, to be in a position that I could buy commercial real estate. And then I guess in 2015, I won the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. So that was definitely a highlight. It's always rewarding when, as much as I don't like being in front of a camera or getting up on a stage, or I don't like the spotlight, but it is nice when the agency, when my team, when we get recognized for our work. I guess most recently, though, we rebranded just in the fall. We rebranded from Lesley Warren Design Group to W Design Co. It was time. It was something I've been wanting to do for a while. And initially, like I said, I set out to do some freelance and raise a family. It wasn't really my initial vision to create a group and own an agency. So I think that, like, our brand it no longer aligned. The name no longer represented who we are or where we're going as a firm. And as I look to the future and I look at succession, it it made sense and it needed to be done. And I'm really excited that we made it through the process. Not really. I'm a pretty methodical planner. I take calculated risks. I make informed decisions. I surround myself with trusted advisors. Um, so there's not, no, I don't know that there's anything I would do differently. I know I've made mistakes along the way. There's no question about that. But, I think my perspective on mistakes is as long as you're learning from them, and it was obviously probably a lesson I needed to learn, then it's not really a mistake. It was a learning opportunity. So I've had a lot of learning opportunities, and that's contributed to my growth. But I wouldn't change anything. Success. Well, very simply, success to me, it comes down to, are my team happy? Are my clients happy and getting what they need? And I think it's important to keep an eye on financial performance. Well, that's not everything. I think it's a good metric that kind of quantifies that you're doing the other two right. So, my team are so important to me, and we've talked about culture and just ensuring that environment for them. But yeah, if my team are happy and doing work that fulfills them, that they're feeling fulfilled and excited about what they're doing, and if I can support them on their journey and contribute to their growth, that to me is success. I think from a client perspective, I'm very committed to client satisfaction, and I'm honest. If they want something that I don't think they need, I'll be honest with them. I'm not going to upsell them just for the sake of upselling them. I really believe in authenticity and transparency, and I care. I care about their success. I mean, it sounds so cliche to say, their success is our success, but it really, I mean, if their business is doing well, and if we've contributed, in some way, if we've developed a brand that's getting recognition and that rallies a team, and that's so rewarding. When we go to Costco and see our packages on shelf and, selling out, that's awesome. That's what fuels me, and it never gets old. I think Waterloo region, it has such a great business community. It has a diverse business community. There's lots of opportunity. There's lots of opportunity to get involved. There's lots of events and groups, and there's just so much going on. It's just a great community to be involved with, and a very welcoming community, just very welcoming and supportive. And that's been my experience anyways. Audacious goals. Well, I think as a small service-based company, it's not uncommon for me to be very owner-centric. The business is very dependent on me currently. So what I aspire to build a legacy. I aspire to build a legacy that will continue to thrive well beyond me. You can reach out to me personally at Lesley at wdesignco.ca, or you can check out our website at wdesignco.ca.